Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we would be lost without. For your listening pleasure, allow me to introduce your very own Kanko Gaido, Michael.
Welcome to a special Lost Without Moments bonus interview episode of Lost Without Japan podcast. Our bi-weekly podcast is focused on getting you to Japan for your first visit or to make your next adventure to Japan an even better one. Today's special interview episode with Stephanie Lowe from NEOLD Private House will cover a number of unique services that truly could create a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is your Kanko Gaido for TKIC Studio Productions coming to you with hopes and dreams of a return to travel for himself and others in summer 2022. I'd like to thank you for all giving us a bit of your time today and truly hope that this podcast finds you in a good place or on the path to a better one, no matter how it may seem at this moment. My belief is that we could all use a beacon like this one in our lives to help guide us during these times, and my hope is that Japan, along with this show, will become that for you. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a returning Lost Without listener, thank you again for your time and for returning. For today's show, let me introduce a very special guest from NEOLD Private House, Stephanie. I must say I'm truly thankful for being introduced to you by Jeff from Rediscover Tours and Rediscover Japan, and for you taking time out of your busy schedule today. We'll say more than once for today's interview. So thank you, Stephanie.
Hi, thank you.
Long time since we talked last.
Yes.
There are still plenty of activities and experiences that are on my list to complete in upcoming visits to Japan, but it's not often I learn of an experience that I was unaware of that excited me as much as this experiences that are laid out on neold.co.jp has one of those, my friends. Who wouldn't want to be a shogun for a day or two? And so many other cool things. I truly feel fortunate today to have Stephanie join us and share exactly what NEOLD Private House has to offer listeners of Lost Without Japan on their next trip to Japan. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for making time for your listeners today. Listeners, let me just tell you, Stephanie is going above and beyond in this today. And I'll forgive her if her favorite musical is not Les Mis, because of all that she's done today. And I owe her a pizza. Now I just have to figure out how to get it to Japan. So
yes.
Before
I would like a Chicago deep dish pizza. Thank you.
It's like for sure. Before we get going with today's episodes, where can listeners go to take advantage of your services and answer any additional questions they may have when they look to book their next trips?
So you can follow us on Instagram at neold.jp, on Facebook by searching NEOLD Private House or facebook.com/neold.jp, or on our website, neold.co.jp.
Excellent. And for this next part, Stephanie, it's really whatever you want to share is up to you. Give you a chance to kind of introduce yourself, life before Japan, after, anything like that you'd like to cover.
All right. So I'm Stephanie. I'm the translator, social media manager, and coordinator for NEOLD Private House. Apart from translating for the company, my main role is to coordinate guests stay with us, either directly with them or with their travel company. So some guests might request to sightsee in certain places or have very specific experiences during their stay with us. So it's my job to plan and ensure that their itinerary goes as smoothly as possible.
Excellent. And one of the other things is said that you moved to Japan about like 4 years ago. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I moved to Japan from Singapore about 4 years ago. And during that time in Singapore, I worked with traditional Japanese craftsmen, call them shokunin-san. And I introduced their craft to Singapore through art festivals and local design stores. And right now, I'm also a freelance translator for sankaku.is. It's a online publication project telling stories about craft and design culture in Japan, especially Tokyo.
Excellent, Stephanie. And I'll make sure to include a link for that in our notes. We can have a show doc that we have going that will definitely be something I'm sure others would be interested in as well. And if you could, what has learning about these traditional makers, how has it impacted you?
Well, learning about the traditional makers and the ethos is what pushed me from like mere interest in Japan to really falling in love with the mindset of Japanese people and craftsmen and why Japanese workmanship is so prized all over the world. Many people poke fun at how hard-headed, katai Japanese people are about rules, but it is the same mindset, the same vein that brings this consistency and quality of craft that's so admired all over the world.
Excellent. And then, as I made the joke earlier, I know that you went to university for theater with Les Mis. We can always talk about your favorite musicals or things later. But what did you study at university?
My university major was theater, acting, not musical theater though. So we studied different art forms, Asian art forms, and one of them was no theater, which is Japan's oldest form of art. And that led to my interest in Japanese theater in general, and also led to this job at NEOLD Private House. Because when I was interviewing for the job, they showed me the no theater stage in its conceptual stage, and I just went off on a tangent about how much I love no theater, and that is how I got the job, probably.
I think it's great when you have those moments in life that like lead, things that you're passionate about end up happening for a reason, and it becomes like what you're doing. It's so like, I love it. I love it. I love it. And for you, like we'll get into our like Japan passions and things like that. What was it that first attracted you to Japan?
Wow. So my first encounter with Japan was on exchange here when I was 14. I spoke no Japanese. My host family did not speak English, but they went through lengths to make me feel welcome. And they call it omotenashi, like hospitality. And at that time, it just resonated with me so much that I returned to Japan at every subsequent visit. And even now, I still feel that it's hospitality.
Yeah, I don't know, like many places in the world. Like for me, I was lost in Tokyo Station, and I had someone that walked me 45 minutes to like a complete opposite end, made sure I got on my right train, and then probably had to walk 45 minutes back to get on their train. Like you're not going to find that like anywhere else in the world, like and it made me fall in love, like even more so. So
I'm
no doubt.
so spoiled by Japan that I don't think I can live anywhere else now. I lost my phone recently, like during a ski trip, and it was within 10 minutes that someone just returned it to me. I'm just spoiled here.
It's like when I'm there and I see people leaving their things and like walking off. It was always like, it always catches me off guard. And by the end of it, I'm just like, this is okay. It's great. I wouldn't do that in Chicago. Love Chicago, but wouldn't do that here. So
yeah.
But like, so what's besides that, like having your phone returned to you when it's lost, what still excites you the most about living in Japan?
Ooh, for me, a nerd, and I say the subway because it is on time all the time to the minute. And the fact that I can reschedule a package to be redelivered at a certain time, like you can schedule it for from 10 to 2 p.m., from 2 to 4 p.m., and it will arrive.
And it's very punctual too. There's no doubt about it.
It
is. And then for you, what are your favorite places you've visited in Japan?
Oh, you have to make me choose. The whole of Japan is my favorite. But the most memorable would be Kumano-Nachi Shrine in Wakayama. It's a whole hike getting there. I'm not the most physical person, it was painful, but seeing the Nachi waterfall, it's huge, and the iconic pagoda just made everything worth it.
That's awesome, and I'd follow you with that. I've got like this bike tour thing that I may be looking to do, and some other things. Anything I can find that other fellow non-athletic types have done, it's going to go at the top of my list for next time. So
Yeah.
and then I know for you too, with your location in Yoshino, for NEOLD the NEOLD House. What is it about that area that means so much?
Well, first of all, Nara, Yoshino, where NEOLD is, it's in Nara, which is the ancient capital. And Yoshino itself, Yoshino Mountain is a World Heritage Site, has many sacred roots in mountain worship, like Shugendo. And Mount Yoshino is breathtaking during the cherry blossom season, which was recent. And it is known for the 10,000 cherry blossoms, the view of these cherry blossoms. So all the way up the mountain, it's all cherry trees. During spring, as you go up the mountain and as you take the train up to Yoshino, everything is pink and white and different shades of pink. And it's like a dream. I really recommend it.
Awesome. It has to be breathtaking. There's no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
when you're not translating or, working for NEOLD House, like, and you have a bit of free time, what do you like to do?
Ooh. So, because I live in Kansai in Osaka, it's so easy to take little trips around the area. So, I go to Kyoto at least once a month. There's so much to do, so much to see in Kyoto, especially North Kyoto. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And like, there's just so much to do in that area, just in general. Like, it's easy to fall in love with that for sure. And when you have that free time and you have like any activities or hobbies that you like to do outside of work in Japan as well.
Ooh. Oh, so the nerd is out. So I still, I like painting, I do dance, and read about Japan. So my hobbies outside of Japan are still Japan, unfortunately. Fortunately, yeah.
In this audience, you have a lot of people that are going to be of the same thing. So, like, it's like there's a lot of people
Good.
nodding their heads right now.
Yes.
And when we had talked before, like, about travel hacks for Japan, you're a big fan of the JR Pass. Why
Yeah.
is that?
Because I can't use it right now. I'm a Japanese resident, like a Japan resident, and the JR Pass is only available for those with residents outside of Japan. And the JR Pass can be used to get on the Shinkansen to all the places throughout Japan. And I advise people not to sleep on places that are in the big cities, Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo. You should go between these cities, just hop on, hop off, and don't shy away from tour guides and travel planners or even walking tours. It's not a scam, people. The local guides they're likely to show you places that you wouldn't go by yourself.
And that's a huge deal because Japan can be very imposing if you let it be. And having like a local friend, per se, that or anybody that can just help guide you through that process is going to make you feel so much more comfortable. And then you'll want to do it on your own.
Yeah,
It really
I think
is.
the first time you should have a local guide, especially if you want to go to like little izakaya, small little bars, and the whole menu is in Japanese.
100%. I need to find a curry place that's like that on my next visit. That's one of my favorite things to have. So
Yes, come to Osaka. I'll show the curry places to you.
that's it. It's like sold. And for you, if I have someone who's listening right now that's like, Stephanie, so jealous of your job, of being in Japan. This is some sort of employment that I'd like to try to get, myself. Like, what would be a recommendation that you'd give to them?
I mean, to move to Japan, you should study Japanese. that's where you should start.
Number one.
And then secondly, I mean, not just Japan, but sharing something is to truly have a love for what you're sharing. And I couldn't imagine trying to sell or even share Japan right now if I didn't love it, if I didn't honestly believe in
I agree. I agree. And it comes off 100 times over with
it.
speaking with you. So now on to kind of NEOLD Private House. We will get to discuss the Shogun Experience a little bit later. And I know that there's people that are listening right now that's like, Mike, just get to it right now. But what are there's so many, let me tell you, everybody, right now, there are so many other unique experiences and options at NEOLD Private House that they have to offer. Could you go into a little bit for us right now?
So NEOLD Private House, it features a full authentic no theater stage, and its construction was supervised by a no theater performer. His name is Taichiro Nomura, and he's from the Izumi School. So this private facility allows for only one party to book the premise at each time. So we bring cultural experiences like Kezuma, which is traditional magic, and Iai, sword fighting, which is featured in Demon Slayer, and tea ceremony. And all these experiences are brought to the guests instead of the guests going around different places and hustling around. So you come here and it is truly an immersive getaway.
That's awesome. And it's not just for one person. I saw on your site that it's also for people that are traveling with children or a group of people. Could you tell us about that as well?
Yeah. So this exclusivity, this privacy alone, gives you full reign of a facility. It's like staying in this luxury ryokan with all the perks and services. It's super luxurious, but you don't have to be considerate because it's for you and your group alone. So it makes travel with young children easier. We had a group recently with 7 adults and 2 young children, toddlers, and they had a great time just letting the kids do their thing after dinner. We serve the kids first, always, and after dinner they just roam around. The adults just hang out, and they brought a bunch of their own food to barbecue, and we helped them set it up on our little veranda. And we have a rooftop deck as well if you want to barbecue. And you can stay up as late as you want. You don't have there is no curfew. You can do whatever you want. So you get a whole experience, but you do have the whole place to yourself.
And that in and of itself is huge. And you have this amazing dining experience that you can have. And that dining experience could become even more amazing with some like an additional possible add-on thing that you have that you'll talk about as well. Could you tell us a little bit about those dining plans and what's included with your stay?
Okay, so you can come to NEOLD just for lunch and dinner, private lunch, private dinner. But we also typically have breakfast and dinner plans if you stay with us. And if you stay for more than one night, we can add on lunch as well. And we have a special exclusive for guests that stay more than one night. So you get to come with us. You get an insider's view to the morning market. This morning market is exclusive to the dining industry, restaurants and hotels only. And you get to see the fresh fish that come in. You get to look at the vegetables, and the ingredients you choose that morning will be served the very same night.
I could see like some foodies out there, especially those themed with Japan. Like that in and of itself is like worth paying for. So that sounds like simply amazing. And what are some of those like popular dining requests or things that people might need to know if they're going to be looking to book with your service?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, it's like coming to Japan with dietary restrictions might be a little difficult, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, because everything has fish. So every meal with us is bespoke and tailored to the guest's preferences. So you can request, no shellfish, no fish roll, or no vegetables. And we get the occasional, I want to try a certain dish that I came to Japan to try, like pufferfish. And we are licensed, we are certified to serve pufferfish, very safe. and we can accommodate for you if it's in season.
That's awesome. I said so many different things that's here, and it's just sounds fantastic so far. And if someone was looking to, look about trying to set up that bespoke menu with you, that dining experience, how do they get in contact with you to do that?
So you can shoot us an email or just message us on our social media, and at least a week in advance, so we have enough time to curate a special menu for you.
And if you're going to do it, might as well do it right. That sounds like fantastic for here. And with everything that's there, but beyond all of these performances, having your own, theater, basically it's outside, like where everything's brought to you. You have a menu that's tailored to you. You have so many things that people may not expect. But what is one thing that our listeners may not expect about staying with NEOLD Private House?
Well, it's how truly deep into nature and how far away from actual city you are. I'm a city girl. I was born and raised in a bustling city, and going to NEOLD for the first time, it was so quiet, and the mountain air is so fresh, and the stars are so close to you. And sometimes you can see and hear wild deer because we're in Nara. They come out from the mountains. They come and say hi. And we have our nose stage lit up at night. So we have torches, and it really is breathtaking.
It's just all of this sounds like something that's just completely unforgettable. And being in an area that, like you said, is a UNESCO heritage site area, and just everything that you can have with this, just simply amazing. And now to the part that a lot of people are here for. If you're going to do this, I mean, you want to be the Shogun. You would like to have the Shogun experience. I'm ready to be dressed up right now. It's like, what happens even before someone arrives that makes this experience even possible?
So you're right. It is like a theatrical performance. So we have to iron out the details with the guests beforehand to ensure everything goes smoothly. We want to know their preferences, food, costume. So we do require reservations to be made at least 2 weeks in advance. And on our end, we are preparing and rehearsing like a performance. So we have a stunt team, and we make sure everyone knows what they're doing and where they're supposed to be when the guests come. And if an interpreter is needed, we have a run through to make sure everything is seamless for the guests. So it's exactly like a performance. We are a duck paddling in a pond, very calm up top. Down under the water, we're all like screaming, paddling furiously.
And anyone that's been a part of a play, be it whatever level of performing that is, knows just how crazy it is in the back and how calm it can seem, out on stage. So that I can definitely see. And the cool part is, though, because I was like, okay, you're going to have the Shogun Experience, which is just like amazing. But then when I was clicking through, I'm like, what's going to happen if you're coming with a group of people? Is it somebody like everybody kind of admiring this other person? No, it's not. You have the ability to kind of play along with this performance as well. You could be a noble lady. You could be a samurai. You can be a ninja. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about how much more customization you have to offer?
Yeah. So when you come with more than one person, because there can only be one shogun, he's the top, you can, with a guest, maybe your guest wants to be a ninja, and then you can have a ninja experience with your friend, or you can be a noble lady, you can be a samurai. And it's just so that people might want to try on different roles. Like, I don't want to be a samurai, I want to be a lady. And we want to give them the option to do that.
And it'd be nice, like, especially if you're going to be taking advantage of multiple days of having that as an option too. Totally could see that. Now, on average, what are kind of some of the prices or price ranges someone might expect when they look to take advantage of NEOLD Private House for one or multiple days?
So we have the full price list on our website, totally transparent. But the Shogun Experience itself starts from 1 million yen for the first guest, and per additional guest, it's 100,000 yen.
And it's with everything that goes into it. I mean, like with that Shogun experience, it's not just, like one thing. You have like a whole village, it seems, of people that are there. Like,
Yes,
I mean,
a whole crew, film crew, a stunt team. You have a whole cast of people for just you coming down.
Like, how much would you pay to have your own movie and have that be filmed in Japan? Come on. It's like amazing. So much awesomeness here. So, and then with everything that you have, it even begins before you like arrive. Can you talk to us kind of like about the experience of when someone's picked up and they're brought to NEOLD Private House?
Yes. So we pick you up from a private van, and the moment you arrive, everyone is waiting for you. Everyone's in character. We have big taiko drums. We're welcoming the guests as if they were a shogun coming home. And we take your bags, and we'll ignore the fact that you're in modern clothes. Like, this strange shogun is wearing a t-shirt. It's fine. You get a costume change back into proper shogun attire, and it fully immerses you into the role. And then you get a official introduction from the staff. We'll introduce the facility, and at this time you can relax and take photos. But while you're relaxing, the staff are also in character. So they are doing their daily routine. They are cleaning the floor. They are practicing their sword fighting. And then after that, you get a dining experience where it's a multi-course kaiseki style dinner, which of course, you are a shogun. It's very important that we test for poison before you consume it. Yeah, you get a whole experience as a shogun. Yeah. And after dinner, if you have requested for an add-on cultural experience, like we can do Tezuma, magic show, or you can have a private Maiko Geiko performance or tea ceremony calligraphy that will take place after dinner. If not, you can roam around. You can go to the roof deck. We have a basement bar. You can take a drink out, have a 3-hour long bath.
There's times like I'd pay $10,000. I think I'm pretty, for that alone, just having that ability to be out somewhere and having like all of that.
You can bring food to your private. We have a private outdoor bath. You want food and drinks there, you can stay there the whole night.
It's amazing. And with all of those performances, like you said, that night, like you're coming through, you're able to see, I'm sure, a ton more stars than you're even going to even think, possible. You have nature all around you. I can't imagine your location in fall, like, autumn. Like, it has to be amazing. Yeah. And, just so cool. And then with that, your night comes to an end. You're starting the next day. Could you tell us what it's like when your shogun wakes up in the morning, how their day kind of goes?
So we have a Japanese-style breakfast, of course. And then after breakfast, we get into the meat of the whole Shogun experience. So you get a one-on-one sword practice lesson. And then you have some stunt training with our stunt team to prepare for filming. So the samurai armor, it's an authentic, original samurai armor. It takes a while to put on, about an hour. It's very heavy. I've tried it on myself. The helmet itself is 5 kilos. I can't believe they actually wear this into battle. After practice, we film the fight sequence, and then we'll send it to you directly after editing. And then it's time for you to check out, and we will let you freshen up back to your own clothes, and we'll send you back in our private van.
I mean, just so much. Like, you have a sword practice session. You get to have stunt training. You get a movie to go back home with. You have like meals that are tailored to you. You get this all by yourself. Just amazing. Like, so awesome. And I'm sure we could keep on talking for like the next 30 minutes more about that in general. But we'll move on with this and kind of look to touch base again after everything opens and just see how things are going for you all. But I look forward to that. But what is some of the biggest challenges you're facing, NEOLD Private House right now And how are you going about trying to tackle that?
I mean, the challenge right now is the same as most of us in the travel industry. The borders are still closed to overseas tourists. So what we're doing is currently focusing on guests that are within Japan right now, trying to create content, get feedback, and garner interest to prepare for when the borders open. So doing interviews like this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that, setting aside the time for
Thank
it.
you for having us. Yeah.
And what for you, I mean, there's so many things going, and as soon as things open up, there's so many people I know that are just ready to go back to Japan, especially those that are my friend that I'm friends with that have been multiple times. Like, we're just stockpiling money. We're not going other places. We're literally just like, okay, our next trip is going to be even better. It's like so.
Thank you.
It's like I can't wait to take advantage of that. I'm so hoping that we get to go in June. My son and I said if it's pushed off, we're gonna do. We'll end up staying like in Tokyo at the Park Hyatt and just making like an even more amazing experience, for ourselves. But having something like this is something that I was unaware of. Like having the offer to be with this now is just something that I want to have at some point in my life, no matter how long it may take to save to get there. So look forward to it, like at some point. So for you though, like what is some advice you might give to someone who's looking to book in your area, like additional lodging or things on the trip? Let's say they're done with your experience, but they're looking to stay in the area. What advice could you give for someone looking to stay in that for the next trip?
So, yeah, a lot of people think of Nara Park where the deer are, which it's fine. You can go there, feed the deer. But in central South Nara, where NEOLD is located, we have a lot of places that are worth going since you're already in the area. Places like Asuka and Mount Miwa are full of historical gems, especially because Nara is the ancient capital. Mount Miwa, I've been there, and it's amazing. You can climb as many mountains as you like. And where I mentioned earlier, Kumanonachi is a little south of where we are, and down towards Wakayama as well. So it's really full of history in Nara.
That's awesome. So awesome. And we're going to kind of pause at this moment here and kind of get back to yourself for just a little bit. What are some of your favorite either podcast, YouTube shows, something that could be on Japan, something that's not? Like, what would you like to share with the listeners?
Okay, my favorite podcast is Lost Without Japan.
That's right answer.
Michael isn't threatening me or anything.
No bribery, please. No bribery.
No bribery. I'm not thinking about Chicago pizza.
That's right.
Yeah. For YouTube, I like Linfamy, Linfamy. He does little short, cute animated shorts about medieval Japan and the folk tales and the thousands of gods that Japan has. It's a really fun way to learn about history, especially since Japan's history gets really long. Also, for people that are looking to get off the beaten path to Japan, my friend Donnie Kimball, I think, DonnieJKimball.net. He writes articles about like off the beaten track places in Japan. I highly recommend.
That's awesome. I said, go ahead and, if you don't mind, message me that, and I will include that in the list of resources as well. That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And what are your goals for NEOLD Private House in 2022?
I really, really hope to be able to welcome and share Japan, NEOLD to guests by fall, if not summer, hopefully summer. So you guys can experience how magical it really is. And NEOLD doesn't just do these experiences. You can just come for a private lunch, private dinner with your family, friends. So I hope to have more of that as well.
And really, like you said, part of the fun of being in Japan or sharing something that means so much to you is seeing that reaction of anyone else. And I don't know about you, but like I can see that smile on my kiddos' faces as I'm teaching. I'm sure seeing the smiles of your guests kind of like
Yeah.
fuels you and keeps you like excited and going as well.
I have to be very calm when I'm watching the guests eat because I'm always very excited when they try something for the first. It's life changing, isn't it? Like the first time my friend ate a convenience store sandwich, like all other sandwiches don't compare. It's not the same.
It's really not. It's so not. And then how about yourself? What are some goals for yourself? Like, even if that takes you beyond 2022?
Oh, well, my life goal is to travel to all 47 prefectures of Japan. I think I'm on like 10 or 12 right now.
Awesome.
But this year, hopefully, my goal is to go to more places within Kansai that I haven't been to yet. So more past Kyoto towards Kobe and maybe Hiroshima as well.
Oh, Hiroshima! Like if you get there, you have to try my friend's place, the Good Time Funari. Have a hot dog in Japan. It's amazing. So friendly.
Wow, I will definitely go.
And is there anything else that you'd like to share that we maybe haven't discussed to this point?
Oh, just save your money. Come to Japan. Throw your money at Japan. Thank you very much. Yeah, just get here. I think you will not regret it.
I could not agree more, and especially with we were talking, in previous episodes and things too, where you have a lot of these experiences or places to stay that are like family owned or like small things that are here that have been impacted so much. Like your money, your being there, your everything is going to mean so much when things finally open. It's just gonna mean the world really well. And for you, one more time, just where could listeners of Lost Without Japan reach out to contact you and talk about those experiences that NEOLD Private House has to offer?
So you can contact us on our website directly, neold.co.jp, or contact me directly through our social media. That would be neold.jp on Instagram and NEOLD Private House on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you again, Stephanie, for being on more than once. I appreciate it. Returning guest, quickest to return. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me again.
That's right. I'm going to be sending you a trophy. It's like something you need. So on behalf of Lost Without Japan and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us today for this interview. We look forward to seeing you on board again for our next regularly scheduled episode as we continue our discussion on Japan, travel, culture, and your lost without moments. To everyone out there, Oginki Day, stay well, my friend.